So I was raised Catholic, and my family went to church every single Sunday. And that started when I was a child. So religion and God for me was something external for a very long time, something that didn't feel like it was a personal calling or mission. And it probably wasn't until I was in my late 30s and 40s when I was kind of on a search and was making my way probably away from Catholicism for a bit and trying to find something that was meaningful to me, that religion or spirituality started to become something I did and something that I was and something that I am. Because I think for a lot of us, spirituality and God is something we do on Sundays. And you come to church and you're there for an hour, 2 hours, or however long, and you're in community with people, and you sing and you pray and you listen to the message, but then somehow we get disconnected when we leave on Sunday, and it takes the next Sunday for something to happen in our lives. And I think we all yearn for something more. I know I did. But it wasn't until the priest that I really loved at the Catholic church I attended in my 30s, when he left. He was transferred somewhere. I didn't know where he went because I would have probably followed him to another church that was local. Because every time he spoke, I felt like he had a video camera or something looking into my life. Because every single Sunday, something moved me. There was something that kind of hit me somewhere deep inside, and it felt very personal. And then after he was gone, I wasn't getting that same feeling on Sundays. And then I kind of thought, well, why am I waiting for this to happen on Sunday and have something happen from outside of me so that I feel some meaning or connection to life? And that's life with a capital L, meaning God for me. So it wasn't until I started meditating and seeing what that was like, and I've talked about some of that in the past, and really striving for an experience of God rather than God outside somewhere, that things began to change for me, so that my spirituality was real, that there was this real connection that I felt on a daily basis to something greater. And it took some doing. There were days when it took discipline, sitting in meditation and feeling what that was like to be in the silence for a length of time. Whether it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and for me it had to go much further into 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes an hour, before I would feel this shift or this connection that I think we open up when we go into meditation, or we have an experience of what I call a God moment. So special times that just kind of light us up and you think, oh my gosh, God is here in this moment, or I feel it. Because we all know rationally that God is everywhere. But what does that mean? And what significance does that have to our lives? And I really wanted to know. I really wanted to feel connected. And I wanted something that I could embrace, rather than having this hour and a half experience just on Sundays and then left to just flap in the wind with life in between. What is the foundation that's going to help me rise to the occasion, that makes me smile in the middle of the day when there's nothing particularly special happening, but I just want to feel connected to life? Because there's so much more than just the day-to-day stuff. You know, the alarm going off and the schedule happening and the life starting to happen, whether it's work or being employed, running a business, doing volunteer work. You know, we scurry around and stuff is happening, and sometimes we're just hitting it, one thing after another, and we don't stop to think that there's anything more. Because we're going at such a fast clip. And so I started to try things. So first it was the meditation, and I did start to have some experiences where I experienced God. And sometimes that was a quiet, peaceful knowing. Other days it was my emotion creeping up and feeling this sense of overpowering love. Almost like I had some big cosmic hug, if that makes any sense. The kind of thing that gives you goosebumps. And you're just sitting there and you think, oh my gosh, life is good. I wanted to have those more often. And then after that, I wanted more of that, because I think those are possible. I kept saying that's got to be possible at any time. And as I started to read, and I didn't know I was reading about unity principles or metaphysics and things like that. I was just pulling and finding books from different places. And it said that, you know, I'm the one I have direct connection to God. And I thought, okay, so how do I get connected? Again, what does that mean? What does that look like? And so I would try different things. I remember once going out hiking with friends I had met at it was a meditation class I went to, and we decided to all go hiking, and we were out in the wilderness. The wilderness is not my thing all the time, but we're out walking, and all of a sudden we came to this clearing of trees, and the sunlight was just coming through all the trees, and it just felt like hallowed ground. I mean, my whole body was just lit up. And it just stopped you in your tracks, and everybody stopped at the same moment, and we took this collective breath. And everybody felt it at the same time. And we all thought, oh my gosh, it just felt like God was right there. You know, was God in the light streaming through the trees? Was it the moss on the ground? Was it I have this thing, an affinity for trees. So was it the majesty of the big trunks and the thought of what's happening underground that makes things grow? I think it's all of that. It happens sometimes in my yoga practice. When I'm going through particular postures, or there's one called the sun salutation, which I love to do in the morning, and somewhere in number 5 or 6, I try to do 12 rotations of it. All of a sudden, I feel it again. And I think, oh my gosh, life is good. God is good. But I think it takes us stepping out of our usual stuff, our schedules, to slow down a little bit, to open our eyes, be willing to be willing, as we've talked about before, to find God and feel it in the palm of your hands or all over your skin. Sometimes I feel it when I hug somebody I love. And you just get that warm feeling, and you think, oh my gosh, and it just feels like love's all over you. I feel it when I work out. And I'm in spin class. And sometimes, you know, you're starting to suffer the first 10 minutes, and you think, why did I think this was a good idea? And the music is going, and the instructor is just talking to you, and she's shouting out things that you need to be doing. And you're standing and you're pedaling, and your heart's pumping, and all of a sudden, the movement that you're doing becomes like this Zen experience, and you think, oh my gosh, how wonderful is this? And again, you feel that richness of life. Life with a capital L. That is God. Now I'm doing this, it's called a bowing meditation. I belong to a yoga center at Beltline in Preston, and it's called the bowing meditation, and so it's an extremely physical activity. So you start standing up and your arms come up, and then you go down to the floor on your knees, you put your forehead to the floor, you raise your hands up, and then you come back up. And you repeat that 103 times. And I don't think I did walk, I think I staggered to my car and wished somebody could drive me home, because it was hard. I mean, it taxed my body like nothing ever had. Not spin class, not a long 6-hour hike in the mountains. I mean, this was tough. I mean, my legs were shaking. Somewhere around number 40 into the 50s, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got to go to 103. But somewhere, as I'm counting through those numbers, when I could not do that physically anymore, Spirit stepped in. And I started to hear that still small voice saying, I have always been with you. I have carried you through everything. You are loved. All these things were coming out of this experience. And I'm struggling through, and it seems like at number 85, I don't know what that's about, but around number 85, something magical happens. And again, I get those goosebumps. And even though my legs are shaking, there's this power within me that I feel that is just rich and overpowering. And I think life is good. And so now, even though physically my body doesn't always want to do it, my spirit takes me back to that practice twice a week, every week. Because there's nothing like the experience of God. The visceral, real, tangible experience of God. And I think once you have it, you run to it on a regular basis. You seek it out, because that is the essence of who we are. That's God expressing, come to life in us, something that we need. It feeds us. It reminds us what we're here for. And maybe all we're here for is to connect to God. Spirit God, God in each and every one of us. The God that we see when we look in each other's eyes and truly see each other, truly feel each other. There's got to be so much more than a minutia of life, than a frenetic activity, than the noise that crowds out our thinking every single day. Even if it's just the noise of stuff that, the notifications on your phone, the stuff that pops up. I disabled so many of those notifications, because every time I turned around there was another beep, or my phone is vibrating or something like that, and I think, oh, what is it now? And I'm looking at it, and then I wonder, do I really need to know all that? What's it doing for me other than distracting me? other than taking me away from whatever it is I'm trying to focus on right now. So is God real for us? Or is God just that thing we do on Sunday morning? You know, that we go because we think we should, or we just do, or that's where our people are on Sunday. And yes, community is one of the reasons why we do this. But isn't there so much more that underneath a community is God? That there's something deep inside each and every person that draws us back to this place and time every Sunday? And isn't that what we're searching for? I know it is what I'm searching for all the time. And if we're going to be addicted to something, isn't that it? Isn't that the best thing to want more and more and more of? And I imagine that it's probably the only addiction that adds to your life, that can feed you, that can make you be more expansive, that can open up your heart, that can bring you closer to whatever it is that's calling you to do on this planet. All other addictions strip things from us, shield us from seeing who we really are and what we're capable of. But to seek God and to seek this experience of God all the time brings us closer to our core and closer to that which frees us and gives us the living bread, living water, without having to really eat or drink. So what are we willing to do to find God? Are we willing to step out more than just on Sunday morning to have God? Really have God all over us. Feel it in every cell of your body. Feel it all over your skin. Something that makes you go back over and over and over again. What are you willing to do in your daily life to start your morning out with? Are you willing to give yourself a little bit more space? Wake up a little earlier. Start with prayer time, or meditation, or yoga, or a walk outside. Even if it's to step outside on your balcony or your back patio and breathe in the cool air. And take note of your breath. And realize that in this amazing body that we each have you ever stopped to think of all the millions of things that are happening inside this skin at any given moment? That makes this amazing creation do the things that we do on a daily basis. We're moving so fast that we fail to recognize what an amazing temple that we live in. The body temple. And that's all God. Scientists are now proving that if you go all the way down to the cell, to its core, past the atomic level, that there's this nothingness that is everything. that has rhyme and reason, that has wisdom. Science is starting to prove that God is. So in the morning, are you going to let the alarm clock in life, the stuff that we do, dictate what your experience is, or are you willing to grab God in the morning and carry that force with you and feel that force throughout your day, so that even the minutia of the day becomes special, so that your work life becomes special, so that the meetings become special, so that driving and listening to music in the car becomes special. When you hear that song and you're just lit up singing in the car, not caring who sees you and who's paying attention to you. Can you be in exercise class just lit up? Because life is good. And then every single moment we live becomes rich and becomes God. Because it is, but we're just not always seeing it. We're just not always feeling it. And it's right here waiting for us to open our eyes and our hearts. What are you willing to do? And are you willing to be willing to do? To step out a little bit more. Try another experience that might take you out of your comfort zone, because sometimes we need to be out of our comfort zones, beyond what we usually do, so that God can step in. Take a risk. Get into the wilderness. I was literally in the wilderness when I stepped into that place that felt like hallowed ground. But sometimes we need the wilderness of an experience outside of what we usually do. I don't know who it was that said, if you're always doing things that you believe you can do, then you don't leave room for God to step in and be a part of that experience and take you places you never thought you'd go. That it's just more love in a relationship that you didn't think could be loving. God is right here, all around us, inside us, in front and back of us. It's in everyone you meet. And we have the opportunity to feel that and be that and live that and rejoice in it every single moment of every single day. My prayer is that you'll be willing to be willing. And I hope you'll pray that I too will be willing to be willing every single day, because we take this journey together. Let's take this into meditation. Take a deep breath. Relaxing into your chair. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. Just begin to pay attention to each of your senses. If your eyes are closed, you see the darkness behind your eyelids. There may be colors there. You may feel a coolness on your skin from the fans that are circulating above us. Feel your feet upon the floor. You may hear the fans turning. Feel the beat of your heart. Pay attention to your breath as you inhale and exhale. God is everywhere and everything. God is everyone. You are God expressing, endowed with gifts and talents in a uniqueness that no one else on earth has. Called here in this place and time to do work that no one else can do quite like you. Take another deep breath. Really sinking into your body. Feeling the amazingness of it. Knowing that each and every cell, the millions of cells that comprise who you are filled with God. And you have the power and the strength to do whatever it is you are called to do. Whatever is placed before you, this moment, this day, this week, this month, this year. You have dominion and power over all things. You have only to command it, to declare who you are, to embrace your divinity, Spirit, we come to you together as one heart and one mind, to be love, to be peace, to be joy, to be everything you have called us and created us to be. And we offer this now in the name and in the nature of Jesus the Christ, our brother and way shower. And so it is.